Hello,
Hello.
Hey,
hello.
ladies.
Hey,
How's
happy
it
Freedom
going?
Friday!
Yeah, or lack thereof.
It's actually
lack
Freedom
thereof.
Friday-ish in Ontario for now.
Yeah. So how's the
Wow,
weather over there, ladies?
it's hot.
Beautiful this week. Yeah.
Is it?
Hot.
It's terrible here right now. It is gray and rainy and not the June I want right
What's the
now.
temperature? What's the temperature?
January. It's always like this in June.
I don't know
It-
what January means for there.
It's like
It's like it rains. I mean, but it'll change around. But right now it's 13 degrees. It's not warm.
Oh,
Whoa.
yeah, it's hot here.
Well, we're really temperate, right? Like actually, Vancouver and British Columbia, we're a temperate rainforest, right? That's why like we're so green. It's because we get a lot of rain. We don't get a lot of snow like you guys. You guys get a ton of snow. Usually for us, it'll snow and within the week it's gone. It just washes away. Sometimes we'll get like snow and then in 24, 48 hours it rains and it's completely gone like it never snowed. It's the weirdest thing.
Wow, that's crazy. I'm just sharing here.
I know I was doing the same thing here. I was just waiting for it to come up. So now we've got it there and let's get this out, you guys.
So what
As
do you
usual, everybody, we're shadow banned heavy, every single one of us. So share, like, comment, get it out, do what you got to do. Because today we actually have a couple of important topics that need to be addressed and that people need to be made aware of because we're getting so distracted with, a lot of the masking and the vaccines and the reopening and the lockdowns, which is, of course, important. But there's other pretty scary stuff happening in the background that we have to prepare for so that it's not so scary.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Mhm.
And also that's the thing, right? It's the press and everybody, they're there to also distract you. So there's so much stuff going on that you don't even realize is going on in the background because you're so distracted about, a couple of things. And this is really multifaceted. And I see lovely Amanda's hands up. So there's something she wants to say about that.
I'm just going to go on another rant. Listen,
Yeah, go.
If this is in the mainstream in any way, shape, or form, and they sound concerned and upset, there's something else in the background you need to be watching. Okay, they're distracting you from something they're doing over here. It doesn't matter what. It doesn't matter
whatever.
what.
As soon as I see something take over all the news and everyone's sharing it, I'm automatically taking a step back and saying, they're distracting our attention from something.
Yeah.
That's critical thinking.
For example, what Ford is trying to pass. What is it called? The notwithstanding clause?
The notwithstanding clause. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
That's something, eh? Never before in history.
It's unprecedented.
And I don't think it is. And I don't think people recognize what that means. That means that your ability for life, liberty, and security is in jeopardy, but among many other things. And it's up to 5 years before you can actually try to challenge it.
Yeah. That means no more protests. That means they can throw you in jail without anything. That means, oh my gosh, help me out here, ladies.
I was going to say, let me just read to you it trumps Section 2, which is the freedom of religion, expression, peaceful assembly, and association. We all know that one. But it also could trump Sections 7 through 15 of the Charter. So that's life, liberty, and security. That's search and seizure. That's arbitrary detention. That's rights to be informed of reasons for detention and arrest. Right to be informed of without unreasonable delay of the specific offense charged. That's, protection against double jeopardy, protection against self-incrimination, right to an interpreter, equality rights. There's so many. Check it out. Sections 7 to 15 and Section 2. This is insanity because with this, they will try to detain so many people without reasonable cause, without the ability for a reasonable bail with just cause. And good luck assembling. Like, this is what they're going to want to run with. There's no way that this is not a coincidence that he wants to pass that. And for what reason, other than just total control?
Well, there's a couple reasons. This could also remove the liability from everything that they have done for the last 16, 17 months. That gives them a loophole.
But it's not retroactive.
It's criminal.
Yeah.
It's criminal. So if you're not standing up yet, and if you still think I'm wearing my tinfoil crown sideways, I got news for you. Okay?
I know, right?
You better get yours out and dust it off, because
or
it's
make one,
coming, friends. Yep, I'll make you one myself. You know what, guys? Let's sell tinfoil crowns from now on.
Yeah, right? I know. Tell me about it. Well, you know what? I was reading an article too about what's going on in Ontario when it comes to Doug Ford. I can't remember what his nickname is.
Premier Cheesecake.
Cheesecake?
Cheesecake.
Wow, I love it. Whoever created that one, I need to buy them dinner. But there is a union that represents over 60,000 frontline healthcare workers in Ontario that flat out said we are in an emergency under Doug Ford's dangerous leadership. So they are finally speaking out and voicing like, hey, this premier of this province is dangerous to all of us. This has to stop. Like, they need to shut him down. So Ontarians, I mean, this is your time. Like, you got to stand. If you don't stand, well, I don't know. I don't know if you're going to want to pack up and leave the province, because I know if that was my province, if that was BC right now, I'd be figuring out where I'm going, because no one is going to be detaining me. My body sovereignty is my body, and nobody's going to be doing anything without my permission. And basically, Section 7, which is life, liberty, and security of a person, it protects you from all of those things. So this is very, very, very dangerous, what's happening right now.
Now, I'm sure Rocco is probably going to be jumping all over that. Let's be honest. I'm sure there's going to be lawyers and stuff jumping all over it. Is it gonna hold up? We shall see, because is this even legal to be able to trump all of those based on an emergency that never even met the definition of an emergency in every single province and territories here in Canada? There's no way.
Well, that's the thing.
But they'll try. They will try. And what people are going to do is, just like it's happened for the last 16, 17 months, they're going to believe that it's completely legal, and they're just going to follow through. So the masses are going to go through with it.
Yep. Yep, exactly. Well, and look at this now. What was the other one this week? If you've got your 2 dose, now you don't have to quarantine when you're back.
Right.
But if you read the article, it just says not as long. It doesn't mean no quarantine at all.
Yeah.
Well, exactly.
Yeah.
There's still a quarantine. It's just you still have to quarantine until you get the test. And
yeah.
Yeah.
Did you ladies talk about the teachers union yet? Did we get into that, or did we start there and then move?
No, but Danielle, you have.
Yeah, we haven't yet, but yeah, the teachers. Well, so let's talk about the teachers union first, I guess. I got a great message from Tanya Gaudaday, Alicia and I did, that Rocco was sending her the statement of claim to get things rolling for the BC lawsuit, and that 3 teachers unions have advised teachers not to talk about students and whether they're waxed or not.
Yeah, that's the new nickname. That's
waxed.
Yeah, waxed. Okay, guys?
Are you waxed or not waxed?
Are you waxed or unwaxed?
Yeah.
So they've been advised not to talk to students about it. And he said that it was because of the notice of liability that parents are taking action. So we have to keep pumping this out. She said she was actually at the post office when she was sending the message to us, because she was going to be sending regular mail to all of the teachers' unions and to the ministers of education. And she just said, let's just pray that this puts a complete wedge in their plan to wax the children. Because this is, and that's really great news. So keep doing what you're doing out there, parents. Every little thing that you're doing makes a difference. This liability form, you can get it at actionforcanada.com. Scroll down, you have to look for, I think there's a parents action tab there, and just get that form off and get it off to anybody, any that's in education. And I know that people are seeing it as a threat, but this is a good thing, because this is what's making them back down. They do not want to go toe to toe with what the parents are going to be doing.
Yep. And just to touch on that here in Ontario, and this is for the post-secondary people, Rise Up Canada on Instagram has a fantastic information, couple posts on these. There's 4 universities that have required vaccination. It's too close.
University of Toronto,
waxing,
University of Toronto, Western University,
Fanshawe, and Trent. So here's the thing, okay? There's no guarantee you're going to be learning from inside a classroom anyways, okay? First and foremost. Secondly, there's exemptions available for this. Thirdly, you can go at them with legal action. Universities have a tendency to back down when you throw a lawyer in their face because this is illegal. So I just want to direct you over to Sandra and Rise Up Canada. Are you sneezing over there? So go and check that out. We got to stay on top of this, guys. I know it's a lot of work. I know it's, day in and day out. Trust me, the four of us know this. And a lot of people know this. This is what we do all day. So help us out. Let's get loud on this.
You know what? And it's going to be harder and harder to get information. We know that Bill C-10 is like nipping at our heels here. And you've got literally a few days left to sign petitions, write letters to your MLAs, your MPs, and to fight Bill C-10, which is, of course, about censorship to different platforms that are out there and what they deem as being misinformation. And an article that I just got today, somebody sent me regarding what's happening at SFU, one of our local universities here. To combat misinformation, the ICCRC in SFU School of Criminology has received federal funding from the Digital Citizenship Contribution Program for a 6-month research project to develop an artificial intelligence tool to help social media platforms, online service providers, and government agencies identify COVID-19 misinformation campaigns on social media and take appropriate action.
So they're all going to jail?
Well, here's the thing. That kind of makes me happy a little bit because I thought that they had prepared for this over the years. So instead, now they're trying to hope that students can come up with something better because whatever they had planned over the years is not working. So they're hoping that someone can come up with something better. So that just means we're winning.
Nothing they can come up with is going to help them.
We've got people on our side that's that much smarter. And, as much as they think that they're a couple steps ahead, we're catching up.
Can you imagine how many? Go ahead, Lee.
Above.
Oh, I was just going to say, it's like everything is about loopholes, right? And then they throw a brick in your way or a wall in your way. You got to figure out your way around it. And that's even with us. That's what we've been doing. We didn't schedule this one, right? We didn't schedule this segment. We just hit live because the last time when we did that, it wasn't showing up and we're being, shadow banned insanely. And so now we're trying to figure out, okay, well, what's the loophole now? What do we figure out now? And how do we get around? Right.
We're never, ever going to stop. So come at us because we're never stopping. Not until this is all done.
And I always say with God on our side, it doesn't matter who's against us. We've got the strongest force behind us.
Yeah. We rise. We rise.
You bet.
Right.
So people are asking where they can get exemption. So I think we can probably mention.
We'll wait for next time. Let's wait for next time because I actually put a phone call in to see about some stuff with that. So,
well, Children's Health Defense just wrote one. Christine made one and put it out on the website. So you can go to childrenshealthdefense.ca. Perfect. You can also go to enablerair.com. That is right, Odyssey Junction. And you can even use code A1F1 to get a deal.
That's what I was saying to mention that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So nice. Yeah, absolutely. We wrote our own. All you need is a piece of paper. And
100%.
That is it. They removed all exemptions off the government website last March. Okay. So they introduced Bill 118 here in Ontario, pulled all the exemptions down. What for? Kids aren't even in school. So that's when we knew the plan that was coming with the CV wax, right? And I spoke about that on Parliament Hill last August. We knew the playbook then, and it's coming to fruition. So we took all that wording. We made our own. You can use it. You get it notarized. You hand it the heck in, and it's done. You take your power back. It doesn't have to come from a government website. Your body, your choice.
Mm-hmm. Good.
So
What else have we
now
got going on
for
today?
what's that?
So what else have we
Oh.
got going today? We've got a visitor.
My
We've got
friend
a visitor.
here.
Yeah, Amanda.
I brought my friend here. A lot of you know her from a couple of the interviews that I have done with her. Miss Rachel Huffman from Farmers for Freedom. We're going to talk a little bit about food shortages that are coming down the pipe. Like, a lot of people don't think this is happening. We are further into this than you think is happening right now. So we're going to bring her in, and she's going to talk a little bit about this and what you can do, and you're going to be blown away. Hi, Rach.
Hey.
Thanks
Hi,
for
Rachel.
joining. Sorry, it was such short notice.
So,
But thank you for coming, though. Thank you for coming out and chatting with us tonight. That's awesome.
thank you for having me. I appreciate it. Yeah.
So we're going to talk about food shortages, and you're the expert in this section because you are from Norfolk County, which is the third largest producer of food in Canada. Correct?
Well,
Right.
yeah, I would say that we are the third largest overall when you're adding in fruits and vegetables, melons, nuts, poultry, dairy, beef, and so on. So that tops us at the third highest in Ontario. And then as far as diversity, again, like I'm saying, with our all the different types of commodities that we grow in our area, yes, I'm confident to say in Canada, but for sure I can tell you that statistically in Ontario we are.
Perfect.
Mhm.
Awesome. So tell the audience a little bit about what they can expect coming down the pipe. I mean, you were fantastic last weekend on Saturday and Sunday in London and Waterloo,
Right.
and you really shook some people up. But people aren't grasping the severity of this.
Right.
So we're going to repeat it until they do.
Yeah, exactly. So I please ask questions and kind of guide me along, because like said, you just pulled me on and I have so much to share. But I would appreciate, you guys kind of jumping in, because there's just so many avenues to what is occurring. And so, I mean, last year, 2020, under Section 22 and of course health protocols, the Emergencies Act, and so on, our county was, well, first of all, I don't want to jump ahead of myself. The flights were all canceled to Canada, right? All flights coming in. So that automatically meant to us in March, oh, how are we going to get our labor? So in Canada, approximately, I want to say 65,000 to 70,000 temporary foreign workers come in to work in the agriculture industry in Canada, harvesting fruit, planting, obviously seasonal workers. So that's a huge, when the flights were canceled, I mean, we were panicking. How are you going to get your people here? And that's a process that occurred months prior to March. I mean, we put our application in for labor in the fall. So everybody's sort of like calling your MP. That turned around, but it came with, first of all, they were delayed coming in. And then in our county, we were put under a Section 22 order under the Health Promotion and Protection Act from our medical officer of health. And we were limited to only 3 workers in a residence or a place of quarantine. We call them bunk houses. That's what the term that we use. But they're essentially like a dormitory, I guess, with kitchen facilities and everything. These are, or like a work camp like you would see out west for mining or in oil fields. Smaller on the farm, but similar idea. So no matter what the size of the bunkhouse was in our county, only 3 men were allowed to quarantine for the 2-week period. So there are instances where people are bringing in our county, 500 people, 500 men need to come in. You've arranged it in the fall. You're expecting the flights to start in March, the arrivals, and they're coming in large numbers. And now it's three people. So if you have an 8,000 square foot bunkhouse that you would normally keep 30 men in, you can now quarantine only 3 of them, and then 3 and 3 and 3. I mean, most farms, including ourselves, we have more than one, dwelling for the guys that they live in, but still, it was a logistical nightmare. And so last year, people could not get their asparagus harvested. They could not get their fruit trees pruned. They could not get their soil prepared. There's a lot of preparation that goes into farming this season that is going to affect 3 seasons from now, or directly affect the yields that you're going to see the next summer. So that happened. It reduced the number of men that came into our county by about 30%, 25 to 30%. And our agriculture advisory board did take the data and went through and spoke with all the farmers to find out what happened, what were the yields at the end. And we were down 25% in food production as well. And so, I mean, obviously you could see the labor and the food, how much comes out in the yield it's directly related. And so we did try to appeal it. That was unsuccessful. There were a group of farmers in our community. We all got together. We did try to appeal the Section 22. We weren't successful. And then in the fall, I reached out to Amanda because the public health overreach on the farm, the Service Canada audits, integrity audits, quarantine audits, I said it on the weekend, and a lot of people agree with me in our community, farmers. We are living in an occupied state. Our farms are similar to what I would describe as an occupied state. And I mean that, and public health comes out. Our private property isn't private anymore at all. Police, public health, we have demands from Service Canada to prove things that we would lose our labor if we broke the labor agreement to get these men. We would lose our workforce. And so there's absolutely no benefit to any farmer to violate the employment contracts that we enter into. And so there's a lot of things happening now. So again, we are still under the Section 22. So there's been people coming in slowly. I spoke to one of our farms in our community. They are strawberries, blueberries, raspberries, and they would typically bring in 100 men in the season, and they were only able to bring in 65. And so, I mean, that's being seen across all of the farms. And even if you have them here, if there were to be a positive test result, okay, it doesn't have to be anybody with symptoms, one positive test on your farm in our community, our county, means that your farm is shut down. We are forced by public health in our county to make a public statement that we have an outbreak on the farm, and no one is able to come, meaning any other labor, nobody can come onto the farm. You're frozen until they do their investigation. So,
and it's fear mongering. It's a way for MSM to get that out, that there's another outbreak happening, and they can utilize that to their advantage. It's sick. And it could be a false positive. And even if it is a false positive, they don't come back and say, oops, sorry, my bad.
Oh, no,
right?
no. There were a couple of farmers this year in our county that, so for example, when the men are arriving, they're tested at the airport. Oh, they have to be tested before they board the plane, and then they're tested in Toronto at the airport. If one of those tests are positive, you're in lockdown. Nobody's coming into your farm. And then of course there's the 10-day test. If that one of those are positive, even though they've been in quarantine and they're not sick and they were tested negative at the airport, you must, again, publicly state that you've had this outbreak. So a couple of the farmers got legal representation because, like they said, first of all, if they're positive in Toronto, it's not an outbreak on our farm. They haven't even stepped foot on the farm. They've been in quarantine for 14 days. So how can you force us to say this? I mean, I think it's a couple of things, probably funding, right? I mean, when you're using these types of measures and you are really coming down on the farms with these, they're called quarantine integrity audits. So, and they're just, it's completely a money-making scheme to try and prove, I think, that the millions of dollars that they're spending to enforce these public health measures are working or having some kind of effect. But I also think that, like you said at the beginning, Amanda, this has been a long planned process to just chip away at the strength, the resistance, the resilience of the community, of the farm, of the family farm. And something I don't want to jump all over, like I said at the beginning, there's so many things about this. I'll just try to stay focused on the food shortages, but people are giving up on farming is something I would say too. In the past couple of years, people are just, they've had enough. They just don't want to do it anymore. It's becoming unaffordable. You know, farmers don't really have a whole human resources department where you can manage the immigration and the health and safety. I mean, we're supposed to be doing daily wellness checks on men, like grown men.
Can I just stop you for 1 second? What are the requirements for these men? Are they coming into the country sick, or are they the healthiest of the healthy? Like, what's the deal here? Because they can't be going from one to another. So what's happening?
Well, so they have to pass in any year at any time, they have to meet health requirements because firstly, they're coming in on a work visa. And if they can't work, then that defeats, you know, the whole purpose of why we're asking, you know, requesting them to be here. They're mainly between the ages of 18 and 50, you know, obviously no comorbidities. They're not obese. They don't have cancer. They're not unhealthy in any observable or, you know, clinical way. So they're here. And then what was the next part of it? What do they do when they're here as far as
Well, because just in the last few weeks alone, 5 have died. Okay. So you can't tell me they came from their country sick to come here to work to die 5 days later. So what happened?
Well,
to die while still in quarantine.
That's exactly right. I was just gonna add that. The funny thing is we're forced to do a public announcement that we have a outbreak on the farm, but the fact of the matter is all 5 of those men died while under federal quarantine. Okay, they didn't make it. And that's unheard of. I was saying on the weekend, if there were 5 deaths of temporary foreign workers due to accidents or whatever mismanagement on the farm, they would shut down the program. I'm pretty certain that the Mexican and the Caribbean governments would halt their men from even leaving. There are women actually more and more, but mainly men, because it's unsafe. Obviously, what's happening in Canada, that 5 young, healthy people die within 3 weeks, within 14 days of getting here in a 3-week time period. Like this is from April 10th, approximately, which was the first when they started doing the jab at the airport, right? That was on the 10th of April.
So yeah, just to emphasize that each one of them got the jab at the airport without informed consent and died within quarantine following that jab.
Yeah. And it's crickets as far as if this can cover. You can't find out about it. And what's shocking is those 5 people are in our county. Those are people that are employed by farmers in our county. We have 2,500 farms in our county. That's not all of Canada. That's not including Leamington and Essex County. That's not including Niagara. I have no idea what's happening with their men. I'm only talking about what I know. So
and it's also funny because I just want to circle back, not to be like that, but you say the Mexican and the Caribbean government. How coincidental is it that those are the only 2 places that we're not allowed to fly to? Why do you think that is?
It's 100% to disrupt our labor and disrupt the food supply and intervene. Again, I think long term that I've been looking more and more into this because about how much land or how many mortgages or operating loans are being held by the federal government in Canada of farms. It's actually a lot. I haven't even really dug into that. It's a lot. I bet you it's 70 to 80%. So with everything that's going on and the pressure that this is and the failure of your yield, the failure with your yields, you can't get your crops out, you're giving up. If these farms start to go bankrupt, the government is going to be the one that's backing and holding the mortgages. And I would say that the long-term goal is land seizure, is that they own the farmland and the food. That's why I think they're doing it. I mean, we do get temporary foreign workers from Ecuador and South America. They weren't stopped because of the case numbers, there. And I mean, people were still able to go to Florida last year if they wanted to vacation. So it certainly wasn't because they were trying to stop us from going to a warm, climate. If it's just, and again, it was, I'll just add this, just like before, they squeeze it in when it's too late for us to get together to do anything, right? Mm-hmm. Why don't we just organize and fly our own men in? Well, because by February, January, February, that's impossible to gather up and organize any kind of pushback. It's too late. Everything is always at our busiest seasons and right at the last minute, so that you're in disarray. You're in harvest, or it's in the spring, and it's overwhelming. So.
And someone was just asking if Bill's coming to buy the land. I've got news for you. Billy's already here. He's already here in Ontario, Canada, buying land and working with some of these bigger farming communities. When we spoke about that with the vaccine implanted produce.
There's already an automated indoor facility right now, and I wouldn't doubt his fingers and hands are involved in that.
Oh yeah. And
just to echo, Rachel, I appreciate you coming here, because even myself included, we focus a lot on the masks, and we focus a lot on the, the vaccines, and we focus a lot on, that because it's rightfully important in the lockdowns, but totally blind, and no one is setting awareness on what's actually happening and what's going to be happening to our crop and our food. Because while we're so consumed about a nanotechnology, vaccine coming inside of us, well, we're all going to have only GMO fruits and vegetables and crop if we let this happen. And that's a whole other realm of its own and needs a lot more attention. So I appreciate your time and your information.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I did stress this on the weekend, and I think, it is completely naive. And I do appreciate the idea behind, I think everybody should be doing their own backyard farming, backyard gardening, or if you can get, chickens and have your own food as much as possible. But it is totally impossible that backyard gardens or chickens would replace Canada's agriculture industry, right? It's sort of false hope in a way, I think. So I think everybody should relearn the skills of, I think I said this to you, Tanya, sorry, I'm all over the place here. We need to get back in touch with food. I think by design, most people, not 99%, farmers make up 1.9% of Canada's population, 1.9%. So that means the rest of Canadians know nothing about it. It's become a whole separate entity that is completely foreign to most people. And so at least if you're trying to garden in a small, even in a 5x5, space, at least you're learning the skills. At least you're talking the language and learning. And I think that's a benefit, but there's no way that it can replace in our agriculture industry. And so we are going to be facing massive food shortages. I mean, I was listening to a fellow speaking about wheat. I did not know this, but the Gulf of Mexico and the Great Lakes area, we are the two largest wheat producers as far as the global wheat industry. We set the pricing, that's how dominant we are globally in wheat markets. And with shortages, I mean, getting parts for your tractors now, tires are now in a shortage, oil and gas. I was saying this the other day with the natural gas shortages because they're shutting down pipelines. Fertilizer is directly affected. There's going to be a shortage of fertilizer. It's like it's going to close in onto our industry, and how do you continue to produce, you know? So it's a huge problem upcoming.
What's crazy is I want to echo this because it ties into exactly our conference that we had with Catherine Fitz. And if everyone remembers, what she says is, don't be worrying about saving your money, you know, and just taking care of yourself. What we need to do is give our money and our excess money and funds and start supporting our local farmers and start putting it into those businesses that actually need it, that are one day going to repay us back and repay our children, repay our future. You know, there's everyone that's talking about like crypto and savings and doing this and doing that, which is important. Of course, you want to save for the future, but that money should actually, or at least a portion of that money should be moved aside and gone to the businesses like farming and stuff like that to actually support, you know, something to even be able to have a future for your kids, let alone worrying about a house or gold or silver, crypto, whatever it is.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. I loved what she said in that interview. I watched it too. Is invest in the world that you want to live in. She said, you know, and
Exactly.
I've been thinking about it, you know, and I've been talking to farmers about this. What does that look like? You know, that's why co-ops were started back, I think it was the late 1800s, is because farmers in Western Canada were tired of the government, you know, overreach. And actually that's what's happening in India right now. And that's why all the farmers are protesting there, right? Because they've had enough. And so I've been kind of trying to open that conversation. Like, what does it look like to bring people in? Maybe people need to become like shareholders or kind of into these farms where we are protecting each other somehow. And so I definitely think that those types of programs, ideas need to be looked at and worked on, you know, something, or even sharing.
Just from the comments,
Yep.
comments alone, like people, including myself, I'm interested in doing what we can do to help out the farms and, you know, create co-ops and do what we got to do. I think the interest is there. So maybe we can all start brainstorming on how to really make that actually happen.
Well, it's scary how much the 99% of us are relying on the 1% of us to look after and feed our families. And if you're not around, you know, no farmers, no food, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, Rach, what
absolutely.
are the top three? What's the top 3 points of advice you would give to people to prepare? Like, what would you say is the most important from your point of view?
I would say to go and get books. Like, don't necessarily rely on Wi-Fi. Like, you know, Google searches or whatever it may be.
Mm-hmm.
Go out and buy old gardening books or farm, you know, seeds and plants and horticulture books from like the 40s and 50s, you know, and read them and really think about, like, can I do this and am I equipped to do it? You know, I don't know for sure if there's going to be power outages. I know people talk about that. I wouldn't doubt it. So, I mean, if you're relying only on electricity to keep everything going, what does that look like if you don't have it, or running water? I think that's something that everybody should be looking at. I think that if you don't know a farmer, if you don't know where there's a local butcher or people that are producing food, I think it would be worthwhile to find local production as much as possible. And I think too, if people are constantly shopping at farmers markets, I would say one of the other things that the government is trying to do is they're limiting by eliminating 20 to 30% of the food production. They're reducing the ability of a farmer to sell it to you, because if you have a contract with Sobeys or Loblaws Canada for potatoes, and you can only meet that contract to those large stores, you're not going to sell it locally because you don't have anything anyway. But there is a lot of produce that gets thrown out because they can't get to it once they've met their contract. So, you know, I think if you know farmers, if you start to make those connections, you can probably go to the farm and get stuff from them. You know, you can find out and get bushels of things and canning, you know, and learning that skill again. When it's in season, you know, go and buy as much as you can, large quantities of it. I also, I know what I said this at the rally too. Find out what's in season locally in your area, whether it's in out west or in Ontario. If it's strawberry season here and you're at your local grocery store and they're selling strawberries from, you know, Mexico, complain. I think everybody should complain to their produce department and say, you know, why aren't you selling Ontario, or why aren't you selling BC, or whatever the case may be, and demand that they do. And that way the local farmers are going to continue, you know, functioning, especially at the farmers markets, because it's revenue that's not it's stable revenue, right? Like, you know, what you can send there, so you're going to make the effort. Those are some of the things. There's a lot.
Buying seeds, I'm hearing too. Like, I know, Tanya, I think you stocked up. I know I stocked up about a few $100s worth of seeds too, right? So
absolutely, yeah. And like I said, and learning how to start your seeds, all of it. I think like just learning again how to do it. But I said this the other day on the one group thing. I've listened to a guy, it's his channel on YouTube is called Adapt 2030. I don't know if you've ever seen him or listened to any of his videos. Adapt 2030. And he has excellent advice as far as what kind of seeds, how many. He is really, really brilliant. And he's done a ton of research into the solar minimum. And I've been saying this since 2019 period. So our agriculture industry is already suffering because of the cooler weather. So he's got a lot of interesting theories and a lot of data. And he says, you know, find out where your local seed co-ops are and get out and start buying like 50-pound bags, you know, of seed, wheat, soybean, of it, like, and stock up on it. Not even if you can't plant it, it's something that it may not be available to you right down the road for any of us. So if we have this information, we do amongst our group, then we should probably be acting, because there's probably another 30 group people that don't even care and aren't listening to this at all. And so they're doing nothing, likely.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Wow. Well, thank you so much, Rach. I'm so glad you could hop on, and I'm sorry for the short notice.
Oh, I don't
It was
mind.
great information and people need to hear it. So we appreciate it.
Where can people find you, Rach?
Well, I'm on Instagram. See, that's the whole thing too. The whole thing is just, I've been sort of thrown into this. So I did create a Facebook page, a band to help me. It's Farmers for Freedom. Farmers for Freedom. That's on Facebook. And you can find me on Instagram. I try to post as much as I have time to. Just R.E. Huffman. I think I can't remember. 1521. I believe it is 1521. Yeah, R.E. Huffman. 1521. That's on Instagram. And then yeah, that's probably the two best. Sorry, I'm trying to think of where. I'm not great. Find me through Amanda. She can always find me.
Thanks. You're hilarious. All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us.
Rachel.
Thank you so much, Rachel.
Thank you.
Have a great night, Rach.
Thanks. Keep doing the great work. Thank you.
Thank you. Well,
Oh, that's
how about
good
that?
information. Let's support our local people. That's it. Like, I think that's what it should come down to. When there's so many people right now, you know, selling houses, doing this, doing that, saying, what do I do with the money? I don't trust the bank. I don't do this. I don't do that. Well, put in the local farmers, because I think I would trust them to feed you before the bank or government would ever take care of you. So that's what we have to do as a community, because if we can all do that as a community, it would burst everything that they're working on right now.
Yeah. And also, I mean, that's why I posted that comment about, you know, can we work on the farms? Because at the end of the day, we are going to have to start going backwards like we used to. You know, our parents, grandparents, their parents were farmers. They all got their hands, you know, dirty in the ground, and everybody, you know, had to pitch in as a community. And, you know, the way the government is shifting this, and they're doing it in a very, very strategic, calculated way, is right. It's very strategic. It is very, very strategic.
And not only that, but at the end of the day, when someone needs to start pointing fingers from the public, they are setting it up for the public to point the fingers at the farmer.
Absolutely.
And it's the complete freaking opposite of what it should be. End of story.
Yeah.
And I've watched this since November when Rach and I first connected.
Mm-hmm.
The setups and the bullying, and just, it would blow your mind. Like the things I have seen in the farming community this year, just by being around Rachel. Like, and I live on farms, right? Like this is what I do. Am I a farmer? No, but my whole family are farmers, and this is no joke.
This is important for you to keep calling it out too, because if we're calling it out, it stops the narrative before it even takes place. So even if we look like conspiracy theorists that are, maybe some of the things aren't coming true, it's not coming true in many cases because we're calling it out before they get there, because they can't go like, "Ooh, God, they're calling out our plan, and here we are executing exactly what they said that was going to happen." So we do have to keep calling this stuff out. And you know, we see it creeping in. It's not being advertised on the news, but it's people like Rachel that are coming forward and saying, yeah, this is happening. This is happening big time. And I was actually a bit blown away, I have to say, about what they were saying about the waxed people that were coming into our country and what happened in the hotel. Like, I think that's under quarantine. I think that is, wow.
Well, some of them are being bullied. Some of them aren't getting their passports back until they agree to a wax.
Right.
That is illegal. That is 100% coercion, and it's illegal. And when they say they are giving informed consent, they're giving it to them in English, and these men don't speak English.
Yeah.
Now, the Jamaican men, she said, the higher percentage of them just refuse it flat out because they understand their rights in that regard. But the people coming from Mexico that do not speak English are not getting a Spanish translator for this informed consent. So they think it's something that has to happen or they're going to get sent home. And if they don't, they're taking their passports until they agree to it as a coercion tactic. It's bullying. It's illegal. It's disgusting.
And coming from your local government.
Shocking, isn't it?
I never thought in our lifetime that I would feel so disgraced to be Canadian.
Me too.
I love my country. Don't get us wrong, you guys. We love this country. We can't stand the industry running it.
And the people that are allowing the industry to run it to the ground and destroy the meaning behind Canada.
And the problem with what else you said, Alicia, with getting people to work on these farms, people are lazy. They can't rely on, and we've tried this. We have tried this. And any farmer you say, people will show up the first day, the second day, but they're not reliable because it is labor. And it's not 9 to 5. It's like from 6 till sundown type of thing, right? Like it's seasonal work. It's hard work. And then to get these people in and continue on, it doesn't happen. You get the occasional hard worker, like the old school hard worker, right? But it just doesn't. And even the people nowadays are being coerced to stay home with CERB and, you know, welfare and whatever else. Why do they want to do that when they can sit on their ass and play video games for $2,000?
Yeah. Well, this is where we need to get our freedom fighters, the ones that are not employed because, you know, they've been put in terrible positions, to start helping the community and going to these farmers and saying, hey, I'm willing to get my hands dirty because this is what we need to do to make sure that you guys don't get wiped out.
And you know what else the government hates? They hate it when we get together and gather. Is that a good segue? Can we talk about what's coming up? July 1st,
What's coming up?
Because we love our country. because we believe in the right to gather, because we believe in music, and music has such a beautiful way of just taking away all of the divide. We've dealt with so much segregation over the last year and a bit with mask, unmask, distance, don't distance, wax, don't wax. It's just enough already. So we will be hosting an amazing event coming up on Canada Day, July 1st at Vanier Park in Vancouver, where we will be having a beautiful music festival. Alicia, can you share a little bit more about what we've got coming in for this event?
Well, we've definitely got an amazing lineup already, and we still are working with various artists. There is going to be a multi-platinum Juno Award-winning artist flying in to perform, and I am super, super excited. We've known each other for a long time, being in the same industry back in the day. And when we were chatting and he said, yep, I'm in, I just was so, so excited. So for anybody on here who loves R&B, he has had many, many #1 hits across this country and in different places around the world. The artist, his name is Drew. You guys can check out one of his #1 singles, which was She Can Ride. And yeah, it's pretty exciting. And then we've got some amazing local talent that's going to be here as well. And I wish we could play their music for you guys. We can't, because it's all copywritten, which means they would shut us down like they did yesterday as soon as we played it. But we will put links to some of the lineup that's going to be coming so that you can see the top-notch artistry that's going to be sharing this day with us.
Alicia, I'm just going to interject for half a second here, because for those of you that don't know, Alicia used to write music for Canadian Idol. And so she's got an ear for music. And I'm telling you, when she says it's top-notch artists, this is like our own little Canadian Idol going on here with the people who have been coming to us and giving us their catalogs and their music. We're picking the cream of the crop here. And Alicia's got a great ear for this. You know, what's the hook and what's this? Like, I'm learning tons about the music industry in this process. So
this is the first time hearing about this.
Me too.
I know,
what
right?
the heck, buddy?
Yeah, you know,
know.
I'm just a little introvert, you know, but yeah, I was mentored by the head of A&R for Sony BMG, and in my 20s, I would fly actually to where you ladies are on the East Coast, and yeah, I would write for Canadian Idol, and I've worked with a lot of amazing artists and songwriters, and it was definitely a great experience, and it taught me a lot.
And she sings something beautiful. I can hear her voice a little bit when we're in church on the Sundays and Sunday evenings, and I hear her sing, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I've got to hear more of that. So she's got a voice too. Maybe we can get her to sing.
Canada?
Maybe we can get you on stage. Yeah, it's something.
Yeah, I got
you
a
don't
few.
Want me there with you.
Yeah, I got a
few. But no one else wants it.
Yeah, so it's definitely it's definitely my passion. It's always been kind of a thing that, and I think for most people, and that's why, you know, Danielle makes a very good point. We are in a place right now where there's so much division and there are so many things that are going on around the world, and music is the one thing that strikes a chord in everybody. And it is the one thing that has united so many people around the world when there are things like this that are going on. And so, you know, yesterday Danielle was talking about the Berlin Wall, was talking about Woodstock, you know, there was times of war. And it's hard for people to wrap their minds around this, but we are at war right now. This is World War III. It's just a different kind of war. So we need to figure out a way to bring people together and then have that doorway that encouraging them to walk through, to be able to embrace some knowledge that they did not even realize existed because they just watched the 6 o'clock news.
And feel the humanity from the unity.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly. You know, we did something obviously not to the level. This is a massive undertaking. This is on a far bigger scale than what we've ever done before. But even on New Year's, you know, we had an event. It was a New Year's event, and there were people that were literally walking down the street and saw. You know, it was just music, people just laughing and dancing and having such a good time. And we had tons of people that walked in and they had a mask on. And by, you know, not even the end of the night, but by the end of the night, everybody that was there that had a mask on, there was no masks. But it was a natural, very organic, right? Because they remembered what it was like pre-COVID to be human, to laugh and play and enjoy music. And so this is what we're trying to bring again, because it's a pivotal time. We need this.
You cannot feel you cannot feel opposing energies of negativity and positivity at the same time. And when you come into music, it jives you, it jazzes you, right? Like you get that feeling where you want to get up and dance and you want to enjoy, and you're not in fear when you're doing that. And it's so good for all of those, you know, serotonin and reducing, increasing oxytocin, reducing cortisol levels. It is so good for us to just gather and unify and to be together. But for people who are not comfortable to be, you know, close by, you can watch from afar. That we're going to have an epic speaker system there. Like the sound, we've got Jer, our sound guy, that's been following us to all of our different rallies and whatnot. But this sound system is going to be off the hook. You know, where you can hear it from afar, and the park is stunningly beautiful. The backdrop of this location at Vanier Park, ocean all surrounding us. There's lots of room for everybody to bring your picnic basket, bring your lawn chairs, spread out along the platform, and just listen and enjoy. And if you want to come up to the stage and you want to dance and you want to be mask free, well, that's up to you to govern yourself to decide if you want to do that. So this is just going to be very different from anything else that we've ever held before. And because the Freedom Organization will be hosting this, the Freedom Organization is going to be that gateway that Alicia was talking about, where it's an invitation to education. Hopefully people will see us and say, hey, like, who are these girls? Like, what is this Freedom Organization thing? And hopefully that becomes this opportunity for people to come and listen to people like Rachel, who's just spoken, or, you know, when we had on R-F- Kate, you know, I don't want to say it all because I know if we say his name, then we get censored on that one as well. You know, we've got the Judys, we've got the Batar, you know, all of these people that are coming with top-notch information and education that you're not getting. You're not getting this on the news. So we know that the four of us, the four pillars of truth, as we call ourselves, we're bringing together some amazing information and education, and just an opportunity for people to listen and then decide for yourself. Decide for yourself if this truth resonates for you. Don't let anybody else tell you that you're crazy for listening. Just dip your toe in the water. Listen to what we have to say. And it's not even so much from us. It's the people that we're bringing to the forefront, the experts that we're bringing, right? And then, of course, we are doing endless amounts of research until the wee hours of the morning, listening to such experts. So this platform is an opportunity to bring people together through the love of music. There's lots of room to distance if you so choose to want to do that. But we're doing this because we know that this is one way that it's going to break down the barriers. And like Alicia said, it's what brought down the Berlin Wall. They played the Beatles on the other side of the wall, and they thought that they had something big to fear from the other side of the wall, because what the narrative is that they had to fear what was on the other side. It was the invisible enemy, and it was the music that started the breakdown of that wall. So this is what we're talking about. We want to bring people together. This is not a fringe movement. This is just about coming together for the love of music.
I think we're all tired of division right now. Every single one of us are tired of division. And like someone commented, music is a universal language, and it's true. And this is just a way doesn't matter how you feel about any of the topics. Every single one of us want to feel a little bit more human right now. And this is your opportunity to go and remember what that feels like. You don't need anybody to tell you that you can go. You can go to nature, go to Vanier Park. You could be at a distance. You don't even have to be a part of the party. and tell me if you don't have something to take away, and then join the crowd and just see what happens. Just go and see what happens. Literally take a leap of faith and just see what happens, because every single one of us are yearning for it. Even the ones that are scared, just go. Nothing's going to happen to you.
Put your feet in the grass and smell that beautiful ionized water off the ocean. That is God's medicine right there.
Yes, absolutely.
With that being said as well, because we want to do this for everybody, it comes with a cost. And I could tell you that we all work so hard and would never make $1 off of anything. That's not our intent. We spend money of our own pockets and everything to make things happen for you guys. And with that being said, this event is obviously coming with a price, and we're okay with it, but we also need your help. So if you're coming, please consider donating. If you're not coming, please consider donating. If you're watching from afar, please consider donating, just to make this happen. And we do strongly believe it's going to be a big success, and we're going to try and take that to other major cities across Canada as well, so that we can bring something just as good to Ontario, to, anywhere like that. So we're asking that if you can, if you want a donation, you can pay by PayPal or the Freedom.org #1 at gmail.com. You can send an e-transfer there as well. But we're really asking for your help, because we want to make this work. And if this works, then we know that we can take it across the country. And like Alicia and Danny said, there's a lot of work and a lot of thought going into this. And it's the Love and Light Festival that explains it all right there.
And then just, Alicia, why don't you just talk about a little bit about some of the other artists that we've got coming too?
So we were very fortunate that we have 2 artists here, and actually one of them is from Oakland, California. And so he just so happens to also be a pastor of a church here in Vancouver. So as we were going to kind of, I guess, outdoor church, really, it's at Jack Pool Plaza, which is right downtown Vancouver. It's a beautiful landscape that you can see all of the north and west mountains. We kind of, Danielle and I went and we really just fell in love with the energy of that. And so we got to know them a bit and realized that they are actually artists. They not only write, they produce, they mix and they master their own stuff. They have their own catalogs. They've got their own publishing. These guys are just absolutely incredible. They are super, super talented. So we are going to have them as individuals performing their independent music. And again, I wish we could play it for you, but we will put some samples of their stuff after this live is over. And then we're also collectively going to have their whole crew, and their female singers. I mean, wow. Like, there's like some Whitney Houston and Mariah Carey skills. Like, we're talking next level. I said to Danielle, I was like, when we get through this, I said, I'd love to run a record label, because like, this is just, oh yeah, I'd do it in
Freedom
a heartbeat.
Records, friends.
Right? Oh, I love it.
There you
Freedom
go.
Records. Yes.
I will not sing for that.
Yeah. Hey, the rebirth, the birth. Absolutely. 100%.
Awesome. So we've hit the hour mark, ladies. So I think
we're going to need a couple more minutes here, Amanda, because there's a couple more things I want. Alicia, sorry. Alicia,
no.
Just fly through a couple of the other people that are going to be coming on as well.
Fly
or like who? Like, just go through who's coming else.
Gotcha.
Oh,
so of course,
can I say who else is coming?
Yeah. Yes. Shame on me, Tanya. Go ahead.
That's okay. Not at all. It's your event. Well, it's our event, but you know what I mean. Yeah. But I'm super ecstatic to really take with us across the country the major Canadian anthem, the 2021 version of the Canadian anthem. You've got Tyler Nicholson and Felipe, who are going across country to live perform their amazing single called The New Normal. And if you haven't heard it, you have to hear it, because you cannot help but get goosebumps when you hear the lyrics so perfectly articulated in that song. And these are true warriors that are making a dent in the agenda right now, taking music to a whole other level, but also at the same time bringing old school music, that's soulful music, to the stage. So we're super excited about having them there.
You can check them out on Canada Rising Up, because they are
.ca.
Canada Rising friends.
Yeah, and
they're get off your feet. You find this anthem.
They're rising, all right. I remember in February when I first heard their track, I literally was vibrating. That's how good it was. And I was like, I have to find them. I literally sought them both out. I sought them out on Instagram, and I found Phil first through Canada Rising Up.
Canada Rising Up.
Yeah. And I know they call themselves Crew, which I love that. I think that's awesome. CRU, Crew. And I just said to them, I was like, we have to do something. You have got to come to Vancouver. You have to perform that song. And this track is not just a national anthem. This thing has gone global. There are countries that play this track. This track is just, it embodies everything that is the truth of this situation. And yeah, we will definitely be throwing it up there. So it is super, super exciting. Like Danielle was saying, Amanda and Tanya and myself, this event is going to be epic. Epic.
Yeah. And it'll light your soul on fire.
Yeah, and you know what? One of my favorite artists that's coming in as well, and we don't talk too much about him, but Chico Tohomaso, who is he's more of an R&B soul musician, and he's performed at some of our rallies, and he actually sang with Smokey Robinson. He sang with the Commodores. He is a talented musician too. So we've got music for everybody. So there's going to be different genres throughout. And one other thing to add here is a big shout out to our friend Brian Paul, who has really helped to give back to the community. Brian has donated with his company, Volt Air Sports, a Jano Bike e-scooter valued at $2,000. So if we've talked about the donating, but if you actually want to donate to thefreedomorg1@gmail.com, $20 will buy you a ticket to the Jano Bike e-scooter. And all you need to do on your e-transfer is to put your name, your email address, your phone number on the section where you've got the notes when you're doing your e-transfer. And we will then send you back a ticket that we will draw on Canada Day. And Brian has also announced that Volt Air Sports will be donating also a $2,000 e-bike. So this is really cool. And also, if you want to upgrade your prize to be one of his other toys, I think he's got an e-skateboard and an surfboard. Like, there's some really neat things that he's got going on Volt Air Sports. So you can upgrade to that. And even if you're right across Canada, we will actually pay for the shipping to have it sent to you anywhere across Canada as well. So this is an amazing opportunity. This is not like I've personally never seen donations like this, in the freedom movement going out there. So this is pretty remarkable. Big shout out to you, Brian. Really, really appreciate that you've put these things out there for us and giving back to the community, because this isn't just this is nonprofit. The money from this donation is going to be going strictly into these events and into any other marketing campaigns that we've got going on, some other projects that we're working on as well, if there's anything left over at the end. But thank you very much for that, Brian. Appreciate you.
Yeah, absolutely. And one quick thing is, yes, we've got questions that they're asking if they can donate when they're there. Yes.
Yes.
And you can participate in the raffles when you're there. And we are also working on a silent auction. So it'll all be there. So yes, if it's one of those things where, you want to wait until you actually come out and celebrate with us, absolutely. It'll all be there for you to do it when you're there.
Alicia, I got a quick question for you.
Yeah.
Can people still audition to be a part of? And if so, where and how do they get a hold of you, and what has to happen? I've had that people ask me 3 times this week.
Okay.
So I just want to put it out there.
So what anybody who is interested in being considered on the roster, please email me personally, which is, and I guess we better type this and throw this up there. It is aliciafreedomorg@gmail.com. So
And
I'm
just going to throw a little thing in there, Alicia. I
Yeah.
would really like to request, because I know how busy Alicia is, and she has been going through tons of things. She is up until the wee hours in the morning. Please, if you are sending in your information, I want you to please make sure that there's a level of skill that's here for this, because there is going to be just to have everybody in the sun putting out there that they want to be part of this. We know there's only a few spots that are left, but make sure that like maybe you have some performance experience, that sort of thing. Where it's not just your mom says you're good. Okay, please.
But you know what? I will say this. Yeah, I will say this. Listen, you know what? Coming from myself being an artist, it's one of those things where I don't want anybody either to feel any type of discouragement, because you could be, you could be a young Carrie Underwood and you just haven't been discovered yet. So if you've got something you want to share, send it to me and I'll have a listen to it.
Awesome.
I love it. With that being said, we have to talk about our event.
Last one, guys. This is the last one.
Yeah.
So, June 18th, we have the brilliant and magnificent couple, David and Kim Martin. Okay. This is his debut in Canada, you guys. I am so excited to have this power couple coming to speak at the Freedom for Truth conference.
Yes.
I'm fan.
Share it with 100 people. Everybody here, there's 100 people watching this. Share it with 100 people.
Yeah.
But
and ask them to share it.
My fear is with this is the more we promote, the quicker they get taken down, because I know y'all saw what happened to RFK Jr. the other day.
Yeah.
And he literally
not only was he taken down, his electricity was out. Yeah.
And he said they took his Wi-Fi and his cell service out for 24 hours from that time. And then when we continued on with Catherine Austin Fitts, she said Bobby's name once, and then we couldn't communicate with her. You guys could hear her and you guys could hear us, but we couldn't communicate together. So, they're not playing games anymore, even though we're going to keep playing around them, because that's how we roll. But Dr. David Martin and Kim Martin, so excited. Two beautiful souls, genuine.
An incredible amount of information is going to be shared. I cannot wait. Come ready, ears open, and some popcorn.
8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 5 p.m. Pacific, next Friday.
Yeah.
Woot woot.
Write it down. Put it in the calendar. Put a little alarm on the cell phone, because it's going to be. Oh, I have no words. I'm super excited. I don't fangirl like with artists and Hollywood and all that stuff. I've never gotten excited. It's just not.
It's a different ballgame now.
All of the speakers, because you know what, like this is like history, and these people are doing everything they possibly can and laying everything down on the table to help humanity. And do I fangirl over them? I sure do. Absolutely, I do.
Well, I'll be doing our conference from the likes of my hotel room in Kelowna, and I'll be speaking at a rally June 19th on the Saturday for Clear in Kelowna. So anybody who's down here that wants to join me, heading up there, we'll be going up on the Friday, and big rally there in Kelowna on June 19th.
Woot woot.
Yeah.
Well, thank you everyone for joining. We so look forward to seeing you next Friday. And I think these lovely ladies are going to be live on another one shortly in a couple hours.
Yeah.
Where are you guys going to be?
We're going to be at Odessa Orlowitz on Facebook Live at 8:00 tonight.
Is this a redo?
Pacific time, yeah.
Yeah, this is a redo, because yesterday on Liberty Talk we aired we aired Ty and Phil's video and Drew's video and Terrence and Troy's video. And as soon as that happened, bam, they literally cut it. They cut the live. They're like, it expired. This live is expired. So yes, we're just going to have to verbalize how amazing the talent that is going to be showcasing at Canada Day, and just put links for them as well.
That's awesome. Well, good luck, ladies. We love you.
Thank you. We love you too.
Keep spreading
Thanks,
the love.
everybody. We'll see you next Friday.
You betcha. Take care.